Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 337 of the Board Game Barrage podcast. I am your host, Neelan the Orange Tank, and I am joined, as always, by Mark the Green Tank.
Hey.
And Kellen the Red Tank.
Hello. Like, if we were on a movie poster, how would they organize our names on the top?
Good question.
Yeah, so Neelan, big banner above the title, and then in the little block of text that's at the bottom of the poster, like
also,
buried somewhere there. Yeah.
With
also including, asterisk. Yeah.
The artist known as Mark.
Although this, if any episode is ever sort of co-hosted by more than just the three of us, it's this one, right? This is sort of co-hosted in a way by all our listeners. Would you say that?
No, Neelan doesn't care about that. Don't say that to him.
Yeah, this episode more than ever is brought to you by the listeners of the Board Game Barrage podcast.
Neelan. It was sitting right there. Neelan. By you. This one is brought to you by you. It was right there.
By you.
By you.
Brought to you by you. It sounds great.
I thought you were... I started smiling before you went for it, and then
same
you
here.
Changed it.
I was like, that's such a juicy meatball. He's going to hit that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's just run it back. I never said that. This episode, more than ever, is brought to you by you.
See, perfect.
I nailed the
First
execution.
time.
Yeah. Nailed it.
This is the listener top 20 for 2025. You have all been submitting your top 20 favorite games of all time to our website. I've got to remember to take down that form now, but we're good to go. We have all of the data. We have collected it together. We've collated it. We have come up with the Neelan trademark formula for 2025 that produces the definitive ranking of the listener top 20 games.
They use that in presidential elections. Yeah,
exactly. I am going to be pitching it to the electoral committee this year. Yeah, that's coming up in the second half of the episode. So before we get there, though, let's talk about some of the games that we've been playing this week. And this week, we're going to be talking about Flip 7, Hot Streak, and Kolejka. Starting with Flip 7. Take it away, Kellen.
So this is a game that is so popular in part because they just keep giving it away to people. I don't know if you guys seen at all the conventions. They're like, who wants free Flip 7? They're just giving it out. It's like...
I think there have been times even online you can just get it for like the cost of shipping, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's like, don't they know about the psychology of making people pay for something? You know what I mean? You can have it for free. I don't know. Anyway, Flip 7 is a small box press your luck card game that feels like blackjack for babies or board gamers. And I say that with all love and respect because I, too, am a baby. The game is essentially a card gets put out in front of you, and then you have to decide, will I keep going or will I hold and be a coward and collect my points? So the cards go from 0 to 12, and there are, as you might think, well, as you might not think, but you might now think, there are 12 12s. After I say there are 12 12s, how many 11s do you think that there are, Neelan?
11.
You got it. All the way down to how many 0 cards
I
do you
didn't think that until you said...
Yeah, that's exactly right. So now what do you think about how many 0 cards there are in this game?
Ooh,
think about it.
0.
There is one for some inexplicable reason. Yeah, so there are 6 6s. And you are just trying to score points without busting. You bust whenever you get the same card again in a hand. So you got a 2. That's a great card to have. Well, I mean, it's not that many points, but it's a great card to have because you know there's only one other one in the entire deck. But if you have a hand in front of you of a 12, an 11, and a 10, every card that's coming out is most likely going to be one of the cards that you already have. So when it's your turn to hit, you can stop. You can stop and you can say, I am a coward. I would like to collect my points. And if you do, you get your points, and then you keep playing until someone gets to 200 points. It's very important that you actually play rounds of this game, or it's basically not a game. Let's just be clear here. You must play the game. There are other little elements at play here. If you get 7 different numbers, you get a bonus of 15 points. That's big. There's second chance cards, which lets you keep going, and even if you bust, you just lose your second chance card. That is a great card because that is a freebie. Everyone just keeps hitting when you get a second chance. You see what I'm saying? It's apparent. Even if you're a coward, you can hit on a second chance. I call this the Nealon card. Then there is a freeze card, which this is how you kick someone out of the round. You say, I am freezing you, Nealon. Now, again, this is important because in a game where someone is at 180 points, there can be like multiple rounds in a row where the same person just keeps getting frozen and they just don't get to play the game. And if that's not good game design, I don't know what is. And then there is one last card. I think it's the flip 3, which is forcing someone to flip 3 cards. Oh, no. There are other bonus modifier point cards ×2, etc., etc. There's a flip 3, which, you know, at certain points is good, but most of the time you're sitting there really scared because you don't want to have to flip 3 because you're likely to bust. That is almost the entirety of Flip 7. This is one of those games that you play and you're like, I'm surprised this game doesn't already exist. Here we are having a grand old time. I think it's excellent, surprisingly. I went in with very low expectations. And then as I kept flipping and flipping the cards, the highs are there. It's fun. It's silly. This is on BGA. Okay, that's where Nealon has played this game. Nealon.
Look.
Let's all pour one out. A moment of silence for Nealon, who played Flip 7 on BGA.
Honestly, though, yeah, it was pretty rough. I mean, imagine playing a 5-player game where all you do on your turn is flip one card and then you have to wait for the next player to show up to flip their card.
Sounds so bad. My goodness.
It was pretty dismal.
So you have a Flip 7 game that took literally like 2 weeks? Or something like that?
I mean, pretty much. Honestly, it maybe
so
more than
bad.
2 weeks.
Oh my god.
It kind of like, I
awful.
guess like as you're going through your games, right? The one game you come to and you're like, you don't have to remember the game state. It's just, should I flip this or not? Like, it's like pretty easy choice. Push the button or don't. I think this is one of those that you'll get what you put in. So if you are a bunch of Euro heads who have no personality, you might not enjoy this because you have to play each other, push people to keep flipping, and then cajole each other and also freeze people when they don't want you to, even though they're going to be angry at you. I had a really good time with this. I have purchased a copy for myself. I'd be curious to run this with just like a straight like family, you know? I like party card games. Like that's sort of my bias, you know, like Fuji Flush is sort of a barometer for whether you'll get along with me as a human being. I don't know that this gets there. This doesn't reach the highs of that. This is also much more accessible. You could teach anyone to play this game. And even as you go, you can kind of teach people how it works. And you can fold people into rounds, even if they're showing up late. So we had a good use of this game. Mark and Nealon, you have played 2 rounds in person as well?
Yeah, I don't think we should value my opinion too strongly on this. But like the thing I was thinking as I was playing it is, and I'd be curious to get your take, like, it's pretty similar to Push in a lot of ways, like in terms of like the weight and almost what it's doing. What's your take on your comparison between Flip 7 and Push? Which is kind of in the same ballpark, right?
Yeah, I think this is probably just superior to Push.
Okay.
In that it's just simpler. I have not gotten Push out in a while. It's possible that like that bend, there might be just a little bit more strategy for you in Push, Nealon, where this is just like what I wanted out of it to begin with. Push is one of the games that I unfortunately listened to Reddit and put in that photo case box thing, you know, those acrylic cases where people like condense all their games to. And once it went in there, I've never returned from whence it came. It just sat in there and I've never played it again. And that is literally because it's out of sight, out of mind. Be brief, be bright, be gone. That's my motto. Mark, Flip 7?
Yeah, I was sort of like you. We were looking for a game that was going to be our sort of like wrap-up game for the night, and I decided to try this out, and I had very, very low expectations. I think I maybe skimmed the rules and figured, oh, this doesn't look very complicated. I'll be able to learn it on the fly, like at the end of the night. And sure enough, we all sort of learned it together. It took no time. I had a couple people there who were not really gamers who were interested in playing it. And yeah, we had a great time. It felt sort of like a casino kind of game. The whole push your luck and the table gets excited and being able to free somebody, which would suck in a longer, more complicated game. But in a game as light as Push 7, we had a lot of shouting and fun like that. It kind of felt like a craps table vibe or a roulette table vibe where everybody was sort of cheering on. So yeah, not a game that I would necessarily want to play 100 times, but a really nice, warm up or end of the night game, I think.
Yep. Concur. Flip 7, the hype is real. But again, this is like free to $10 game, so that is what it is.
Yeah.
But I paid for it, so maybe I'm the sucker. You know what I mean? I may have won a game or two of Flip 7, but I lost the game of life for all the people who are listening who got this for free.
Okay, we're going to move on to Hot Streak, which is another silly little fun party game. Kellen and I have played this at least once together. This is a betting racing game in the vein of something like a Ready, Set, Bet, in the vein of something like a Camel Up. But this comes to you from CMYK, who are the makers of Wavelength and Walmart's Warehouse and stuff like that. And it comes with all of the requisite production values I think is associated with their games. It is over the top. So just to give you some idea, the game comes in this elaborate, giant, chunky box with a pull-out felt rolled map, well, not map, course, I suppose, racetrack that you sort of pull out of the box, and has a little wheel on the side of the box when you want to like wrap it all back up and get it back in there. The mascots that you're racing are these giant painted chunky miniatures. It is really quite an elaborate production. The premise of the game is really, really simple. You have 3 rounds of racing. You have a stake draft for getting your betting chip. So each of the mascots has like a betting chip associated with it. Do you think that this is going to finish first, second, or third? Here is the prize money associated with that, each arranged in little stacks. The top stack is going to give you the better award. So if you pick, let's say, the queen, mum, to like finish first or place first, second, or third, if you pick her first, then you're going to get a higher reward than someone that picks that betting chip after you. So you go around, you pick one, it goes back to the end of the table, it bounces back to you in snake draft order, and you're going to end up with 2 betting chips for 2 of the mascots. There are also these side bet chips that are like varied from race to race, which will be something like, do I think that someone is going to get trampled this round? Or are there going to be 2 people on the floor in the end of the race? Little sort of fun little optional challenges, yes or no, and the rewards associated with each of those. Each of these betting chips also has like a safe side and a risky side, which kind of increases the odds on the high end and decreases them on the low end. So there's like a couple of little fun decisions there. But the way that the race breaks down is a very simple deck of cards. You have a deck of cards which you have a subset that is sort of splayed out at the start of the game, so you can kind of see roughly, oh, I can see there's these cards associated with this mascot in there. There's some negative cards associated with this mascot in there. So everyone gets some sense of what the deck's makeup is. Then everyone adds 1 card to that deck at the start of the race. Your little way to like subtly influence the outcome. Then you shuffle up the deck, reveal a card, and it's going to be like, this mascot moves forward 5 spaces. This mascot is going to move forward and then swerve. This one is going to fall over. This one is going to turn around. So it is just kind of madcap, silly madness. Mascots are running backwards, they're running in each other's lanes, they're knocking other mascots over, they're trampling them, in which case they get disqualified, they swerve off the edge of the racetrack, in which case they get disqualified, and the first one to cross the finish line wins, and so on, until you have all of your placements for the 4 mascots. Then you just dish out the money and you kind of repeat this process over again. I think the thing that's kind of like the little quirk that makes this fun is then on every subsequent race, you're using the same deck of cards and you deal out everyone's hand a card from that deck. So you both get this little juice of, oh, I know what card is no longer in the deck, as well as another opportunity to like seed it with something different. So you get like a little bit more and more influence over the races as the game progresses, which just makes it fun for the second and third race. But otherwise, very, very simple, very, very funny. It's obviously amplified by having someone that's sort of shouting, oh, and this person moves forwards, and this person turns around, and now they're trampled. It's just kind of that ready, set, bet energy, where you kind of just like, you're enhancing the game by everyone being into it. But kind of, I would say, similar to like what Kellen was saying about Flip 7, if you're just going to be in a group of people who are not getting into it in that way, sure, I can imagine that this isn't going to work for everyone, but this is just exactly the sort of the madcap group party game that kind of works really well, I would say, in larger groups, like, 5, 6, 7 players, which, that's a pretty niche ground for this type of larger party game. So, yeah, I think this is pretty neat. Kellen, what do you think of Hot Streak?
So, I think that I am a very biased operator in this conversation. What do they call someone? You know what I mean? I could be compromised.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why? Okay.
I don't know why
Explain
you're
what I mean.
compromised.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
no, I don't. I know what you mean by yes. You could be compromised. I'm on board. But
Okay.
why?
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 Okay, but you said you understood. So.
Because you were like okay. Never mind. First
Neil,
you said, do I
listen,
understand
you got
what I'm
him.
trying
You got
to
him,
say?
Colin.
And like,
You got.
I got.
back then.
Yeah, I got him. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you're giving teen energy, Neil, and and I'm here like an adult running circles around you. I purchased Ready Set Bet High Rollers Edition, the over $100 version of the direct in the crosshairs competition to Hot Streak. So I do not know if I can give a objective answer on this game because I spend my hard-earned dollars on the other. I think this is great. I think in some ways it is actually better than Ready Set Bet, and I would say that is in the overall silliness and stupidity of it. It's just stupid and silly, and that's intentional. I think that I'm not convinced. I think Ready Set Bet might actually have some more, I don't know if strategy is the right word, but a little bit more that you can chew on, as the board gamers say. After they table the game, they start chewing on it. There's meaty, crunchy decisions that they love to see. But I think Hot Streak is more fun, and you don't have to sit there like an idiot and call everything, a lot like I did at Dice Tower West. I wish I owned Hot Streak instead of Ready Set Bet High Roller Edition. That's my one sentence review. But I will say this. I'm not sure the box. I mean, the High Rollers Edition box is also terrible. It doesn't fit on any shelf. The box and the way the board pulls out of the box is a little bit like if I showed up to a work meeting and started pulling out of a hat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure.
It's got magician energy.
It's got magician energy, and it's could I bring this to work to show? I was thinking Ready Set Bet could be a fun showpiece. I'm not sure I could roll out the board out of that box with a straight face. So that's where I'm at with Hot Streak. It's complicated.
Funny enough, I did have this experience recently where I was at a friend's party where I didn't know anyone except that friend, and they were bring games. So I was okay, I took Hot Streak, and throughout the night, it never actually got broken up for multiple reasons, but throughout the night, I just had that self-consciousness, I don't know any of these people. How are they going to feel about me bringing out this toy box, basically? And it's got a very, very silly vibe. But I think that they're in the right crowd. That is absolutely part of the appeal. One of the things I should have said, it's also very colorful and cartoony, and these mascots are ridiculous. So it is so over the top in its cartoonish vibe that I think that it kind of lends itself to even the production of the box. It all just feels really, really silly and really, really gimmicky, but not the bad sort of gimmicky, just kind of the delightful sort of gimmicky.
Where do you land, Neelan, on the Ready Set Bet versus this game?
So that's hard. I do think that I can understand Kellen's perspective from the position of being the one running the game, right? So I was mostly running the Hot Streak game, but there's not a whole lot to run there, really. You're flipping over a card, moving a piece, right? And in Ready Set Bet, it is kind of more like you are actually in a moderator role. You're both playing and running Hot Streak, to be clear. So it's kind of got more of this, okay, you just have to be committed to being the person running the game. And I think I would probably have fun with that in Ready Set Bet, but I also liked the fact that I could be that person and actually play Hot Streak. And I do think that for all of the excess, both in kind of the table space and the production and the box size, and I would even say the rule set of Ready Set Bet, I'm stealing this line from the Discord a little bit, but it's kind of it gets 80% of the way to Ready Set Bet while being half of the package and setup, size. So it's
sure.
I don't know. Is it all the way as good as Ready Set Bet? I've not played it enough to say, but it's as close enough to me as makes no difference,
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Hot Streak by CMYK.
All right. So we had a couple light, fun, silly games. I'll leave it to me to follow that up with a game about the horrors of 80s Eastern European communism. So after chasing this game down for years, I finally got a chance to play Kolejka from 2011, designed by Carol Madaj and published by, and this is a translation of the company's name from the original Polish that I'm going to try to refrain from butchering. So the translation is the Institute of National Remembrance. So, as that publisher may be a clue, Kolejka is a historical game, in this case published by this Polish organization whose mission it is to house and provide access for archives of systematic communist repression. Apparently, one of the main ways they do this is they teach about the repressive communist regimes is by publishing these educational historical board games. They've evidently released quite a bit of them, although Kolejka is their most acclaimed and popular, I think, by some margin. So what is Kolejka? Well, for starters, it is the Polish word, I'm pretty sure, for queue, as in to queue up in line, and that is what you are doing in the game. You're going to start with 5 meeples representing your family members, all out trying to get basic goods from threadbare 80s communist-era stores in Poland. And you do this by standing in line and trying to do anything you can to jockey yourself to the front by any means necessary. I have to admit that one of the reasons I was a bit discouraged from getting this game to the table was I was concerned it would, like a lot of historical war games, be pretty complicated and tough to teach and tough to convince people to play. But perhaps because this is not really a war game in any way, that is absolutely not the case with Kolejka. It's quite a simple and straightforward game, and the game flow is a pretty good example of that. The first thing you're going to do each round is, if you're lucky enough to have any free family members in your supply because they've picked up a good in a previous round, you're going to place them back in line at any one of the 5 stores on the board. You've got a store that sells food, one that sells toiletries, furniture, clothing, I think home goods, so real basic essential type things. Anyway, the standing in line and placing your meeples in the line is the crux of the game. After you put your people in line, you're going to flip some communal cards, which are going to be what is delivered to the shops that day. And unsurprisingly, this delivery is also very meager. You'll often get a single item or 2 delivered to a single shop or 2, depending on the player count. So there's this resupply phase where the shops get stocked back up, but again, the stocking up is very, very minimal. After this, you get to the heart of the game, which takes place in this line jumping phase of each round. So each round, you're going to draw 3 cards from a deck that is identical to everybody else's. You get identical decks, you shuffle them up. Every round, you're going to draw 3 off the top. And in this phase, you're going to be choosing whether or not to play these cards and how many cards you want to play, which are going to let you manipulate the lines that you're in and the shops that you're trying to get to. You might be able to add an extra item to a delivery to stock up a shop more than it is if you're like close to the front of the line but not quite there. You might play a I'm carrying a hungry baby card, and that lets you push up to the front of the line. You can play the delivery and error card, which takes an item from one shop and moves it to an adjacent shop, which might completely mess up one of your opponent's plans to grab something they need. You can even play a line to swap the order of a line completely. Move everybody from the back of the line to the front of the line, stuff like that. After this phase of playing a couple cards, whoever's in front of the line of each of the shops that are actually stocked are going to get the item and take their family members back, as I mentioned earlier, and then a new round begins. You're going to keep doing this until everyone fills up their shopping list, which is cards that are dealt out at the beginning of the game and list how many of each product you need to win. These cards are face up the entire game, so you always have a sense of how close people are to winning and what they need and what you might be able to do to sort of block them from doing what they need to do. And that's basically all the game is. Another concern I had, in addition to it being potentially complicated, which again it is not, was the take that nature of the game. I thought it was just going to be a whole bunch of, take that cards that we were going to throw at each other, and that was going to be it. There's one player that I play with who generally doesn't like those kind of games, so I was a little reluctant for that reason to bust it out. But in the end, while there is luck of the draw for sure, there is the fact that everybody has the same cards in their decks. The deck's only, I think, like 8 cards, period. So there's that aspect to it. There is a strategy in knowing when to play cards, when to hold back, when to hold on to a card from round to round, knowing that, you can bust it out later and it'll sort of completely flip things on its head. I was very interested in getting the game originally just because of the historical nature of it. And then that excitement was tampered down when I read the rules and thought it was take thatty and maybe not so interesting. But after playing it, I really, really enjoyed it. It's very, very simple. Game, it was our first game playing it, and we got it done in 60 minutes. And it's that sort of had that jockeying take that didn't feel so bad, A, because it really felt like it worked with the theme, and B, because the game plays so quickly that, you're not in there for like 3 hours and really feeling hurt because somebody used a card against you. And so, yeah, just an interesting, fun, historical game. I looked at some BGG comments that people had, and I was happy to see that folks who at least claimed they grew up in that period, in that area of the world, felt like it was albeit very like stripped down, but it was an sort of accurate representation of the scarcity and the issues getting basic goods during the time. So that was cool to get a sense of as well, and know that it sort of resonated with people who lived during the time. So yeah, a game I would recommend. I sort of hesitated even mentioning this game because it is a little hard to get. It's not as hard to get as it was a couple of years ago when it was one of the grail games out there. It has been reprinted, I believe, in the last couple of years, and is easier to get on the market. But, I don't know how much of our audience are people who are like teachers, specifically teachers that need to cover 80s communist Eastern Europe. But it strikes me as a game that you could play with people who are learning about it or people who are interested in that part of history, that time in history. And you could do so teaching really quickly. You'd have a fun time playing. And just a neat sort of hidden gem game, I think. So that is Kolejka.
Has this made you intrigued to check out the rest of their stuff?
Yes, absolutely. So this is a game that I had heard about years and years ago, again, when it was sort of a grail game, and just found it intriguing that this was a game that was published by an agency that was tasked with keeping archives on, communist regimes. And that was just what sort of got me interested in general. And I thought this was like a one-off. And then in reading more about them and being interested in this sort of like odd publisher, I found out they had published a number of games. This is the only one I'd ever heard of before, so maybe that is a sign of a lack of quality elsewhere, but it is something I'm interested in checking out for sure.
It's such a cool, really unique subset of games that they're trying to collect. So yeah, that's a neat thing.
Yeah, the only other games that strike me as anywhere near this are the games, I think they're published by Academy Games, the company who does the game about French and Indian War. I think they did Freedom, the Underground Railroad, those games that come with, the rule books, and then also like a historic manual that really plumbs the depths of the historical time period. And I think those games are expressly made to also be used in schools to teach things. So it has that sort of same educational, but also a really good game combination that is sort of rare to find. Also, I just wanted to mention for those who are looking the game up, it is spelled Kolejka. So just in case. Anyway, that is Kolejka, designed by Carol Madaj and published by the Institute of National Remembrance.
Okay, let's get right into it. This is the listener top 20. Thank you to everyone who submitted your list. I will say that of all the years I've been doing this was the least of a train wreck it's been in everyone's submissions. So
nice.
Thank you so much. I had very, very minimal corrections. I think it helps literally at every point along the process saying copy and paste your title from BGG, copy and paste your title from BGG. There were one or two weird slips that it's hard to know how they happened because otherwise it kind of looked like everyone was doing exactly that, but very minimal editing I had to do to get everyone's data sorted. So thank you for following the instructions. Let's, I think, just get right into it. I guess for the little bit of backstory that is worth discussing up front here, I have everyone rank their games from 1 to 20, just in your own way of determining your ranked order. Of each of those ranks gets assigned a score. There is a formula that does a little bit of futzing based on its position in the list so that we make it so that, for example, there's not an overvalue of things that are either at the top or the bottom of the list. So there's a little bit of correction happening there, but it is part of a baked-in formula. I'm not tweaking numbers just to satisfy some arbitrary goal. But all that said, let us jump to the number 20 game on the listener top 20 for 2025. The number 20th game is dropping down 5 spots from last year. This was 15. It is now number 20. That is Agricola.
It is fallen.
Happy to see it's still there.
Yeah, but it's it could go back up after it gets its big new sexy version. You know what I mean?
I think that's very true, yeah. It's currently running that Kickstarter, right?
That is currently running on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I don't know that I like it better, but
yeah, when all the young kids get a look at the new hot, sexy version, it'll...
I will say that actually, as a rule, this is definitely a year that marks a lot of quite big profound changes in the list for various reasons. I mean, you can say all of the reasons, but like things are moving around more than maybe you'd expect. Not to a huge degree, but like let's keep going. Gloomhaven enters the list from 23 in 2024. And for what it's worth, I actually don't know offhand where this was on previous years. I have not gone back before last year. So I assume this is always hovering around the number 20 spot, but this was 23 last year, is now number 19.
Did Frosthaven die?
Frosthaven, look, I don't think Frosthaven's very good. So I think that it's two things. I think that there were any number of people that would have told you on release that it was the better game. I think those people are wrong. I think it is evidenced by the fact that I don't really see that many people talking about it, but it is also worth saying that it is the second massive campaign game. And I think by the time you get to the end of Gloomhaven, as my group did, you're not necessarily jazzed to do it all again, you know?
Yeah.
As great as that game is, don't get me wrong. But I do think that there are very specific bad choices that Frosthaven made, and it's like meta progression stuff. So anyway, Gloomhaven still seems here to stay. I was just counting this as Gloomhaven if Jaws of the Lion was in people's submissions, but I did not glom those together.
I'm surprised that Gloomhaven was moving up. I'm not surprised that it has staying power, that it's high on the list, but the fact that it's actually gaining steam to some extent, even a little bit, it just strikes me as interesting. Although it makes sense that like some people are just now playing Gloomhaven, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if a little bit of that is like the Jaws of the Lion effect to some extent, of people that have finished up Jaws of the Lion campaigns and now moving on to Gloomhaven, potentially. Yeah. That was the one thought I had. It's hard to say. Number 18 is a big jump up. I don't think that this has been in our top 20 before. It was number 43 last year. That is Guards of Atlantis 2.
Wow.
The core comes out. There hasn't even been a Kickstarter delivery since the last one, has there?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't think so.
That's crazy. They all got out the vote. Someone went on their Discord and posted a link.
That's cool.
And here we are. They became patrons and then all voted for Guards just for this.
That's exactly it.
Hardcore.
It's a cool game to see get pushed, though. I like it.
Definitely. Like, I think for one that is very, in my mind, a very niche game, it is also one that, you know, for what it's worth, has always seemed like our community favorite. It's quite strongly linked, I would say, to like our and Swag's like communities in particular. So cool to see it get its dues over here. Number 17 is another new entry for the top 20. This is up from 26 last year. I'm very pleased to see this one. Blood on the Clocktower.
Mark, tell us how you feel, and don't spare any expense.
Yeah, I'm not as happy about this one.
No. Just
I can't say I'm surprised, but the people have different takes, different strokes for different folks.
Does it qualify as a?
I'm not
going
to say anything negative about our listeners who are. I might not have it as a board game if I was doing.
You heard it here first, folks.
Definition.
Not only is it not a top 20 board game, it doesn't even qualify. Marco Basada, I'll give you his address.
That's
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Dangerously close to being accurate.
Yeah, I knew some of the words.
Some of the words. Some of the
road.
Different
was
order.
The one I knew.
Okay, number 16. I'll set this one up, and I think you guys are going to be able to tell me what it is. This did show up last year. A few people had submitted it. It is shot up 189 spaces from 205 to number 16. Any guesses?
Wow.
That's huge.
Is there a hint that you can give?
Availability.
Like, is this a new release? Was this like in the last couple?
I think it was probably only very, very vaguely available, probably when we did this last year. It's possible that it had only just started to fulfill in some parts of the world. I'm not entirely sure, but it is definitely the phenomenon of last year.
I can't even remember last
the
week.
Phenomenon of last year.
The phenomenon of last year.
It is.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll get this.
Kickstarter phenomenon of 2024.
Arcs.
Wow.
Arcs. That was a lot less interesting. Yeah, that should have just been. That makes sense.
That is, number 16 on the list is Arcs.
Nice.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, not technically a brand new entry, because like I said, there was some submission for it last year, but you know, it barely featured.
Yeah, I think we should shout out the OGs.
Yeah.
The people who submitted last year should get like a cookie mailed to them. They're the real ones.
Oh, you know what? That's actually a good point. I should have found those people specifically and been like, hey,
you
the guys were ahead of the
trend.
curve. Yeah. Okay, number 15 is up few spots from 18 last year. This is I would say, perennial favorite. Tigris and Euphrates.
That's crazy, the staying power.
Gosh,
of
a
that.
lot of classic. Yeah, a lot of these retro games. Not that Gloomhaven is retro, but a lot of games that aren't necessarily the hotness really holding strong.
Yeah, that was kind of I would say, one of the running themes for sure, is seeing like stalwart games kind of get slight little bumps for unclear reasons, I guess. This is one of 2 Reiner Knizia games on the list. We'll get to the other one later. Number 14, though, is up 2 spots. Another repeat of the same pattern. Terraforming Mars.
But which version?
Wow.
Which expansions? Prelude.
Yeah, exactly.
Prelude
Which
2.
combination of expansions?
Prelude 4.
That's the first.
This is the one that surprised me, because I would have guessed. Yeah, I would have guessed that sentiment for Terraforming Mars of all of these previously loved games would be down slightly, but I don't know. Okay, number 13, I think, is going to please Mark at least a little bit. This is up from 37 last year to number 13. This is Marvel Champions, the card game.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice big bump.
Is that
Marvel
in the
Champions.
top 100 on BGG?
Oh, I can look that up.
Definitely. It might be top 20. It might be top 20.
Top 20.
It's quite high up there for sure.
It is 45 in BGG.
Unless you're going by
Oh,
customizable, the category, Mark, in which case it's top 3. I know.
Oh, that's what I was going by.
Yeah, that's a category you
I
could look
thought you
at.
meant-
Customizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's my homepage. They continue to support it with expansions, and I think there's going to be like a revamping of some of the cards. So yeah, it's a good one for sure.
Number 12, holding the exact same spot as last year. This is Inish. I think also very timely.
Hold on,
lovely new
Sweet
version
Prince.
on the way.
Yeah, Neelan says he's a champion of Inish, but he doesn't even care about which edition you vote for in the Kickstarter poll.
Well, it doesn't matter because I'm getting the big box, so apparently my vote is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, there's a lot of like hoo-ha over, is your card going to match the old cards and what have you, and you know, I'm just going to replace everything I have with the big box. So
how dare you call my suffering a hoo-ha?
That is number 12. Number 11 is slipping down 5 spots from number 6. I'm sorry, Kellen. Innovation.
Oh, slipping down. Well, it might be the 4th edition. The 4th edition is getting to people.
It's
getting to
it.
me, too.
Yeah.
Or people who, like me, just aren't listening anymore. That could be it. That could be it, too. Listen, this is still going to be the biggest differential between BGG rank and BGB rank, so I will take that straight to the bank, cash it in as biggest influencer. Number 1, it's me. Top billing.
I think looking at this list, that has to be the case. That has to be the biggest.
But
biggest
below
difference
Neelan
from
still.
BGG rank.
Otherwise, he wouldn't put together these stats for us.
Number 10 is down 1 spot. That is Race for the Galaxy.
Okay. Still good. Still
keep
solid
it,
again.
Well,
but,
actually, no, wait a minute. So, no. You're saying that Race for the Galaxy and Innovation have flipped?
Yep.
There's been a flippening?
They've flipped.
There's been a flippening?
Exactly. Innovation is now below Race for the Galaxy.
Oh, Neelan. You didn't... Mark, did you add your games to this list?
I did not.
Okay, he's lying.
Don't
He
look at
did.
me.
Neil and I'm adding mine to the list now. Recalculate. Recalculate. Race for Galaxy is off my list. Top 100. Innovation number 1. Recalculate. Okay.
Okay, you've just put Innovation in all
Recalculate.
spots, so disqualified.
Oh,
disqualified.
Yeah. You would disqualify me.
Number 9 is down 6 spots from number 3.
A feast for
That
Odin.
is Root.
Damn it.
It's not a feast for Odin.
Root is falling.
Root is number 9?
Root has fallen a bunch.
Interesting.
I have a separate
expected
little
that.
fun fact about this, which I may as well put here. But I also usually track what games are most picked as people's number 1 selection.
Yeah.
Last year, this was Root. Root had the most people selected as their number 1 game last year, and now only a single person chose it as their number 1 game
Wow.
this year.
Are these people like...
That is
Do you
crazy.
know the
That's-
people? Did they all switch to ARCs?
I was going to say, that's my theory. I do think that's my theory, is that it's a bunch of Cole Worley fans.
The Cole boys?
The arcs.
Get them back into the... Put them back to work. You know what I mean?
I certainly don't know that that's true, but yeah, it was a pretty profound difference in like Root's overall support, I would say, this year.
That's very surprising.
Okay, number 8 is up 2 spots from number 10 last year. This is also a weird one because this has previously been in our number 1, but it looked like it was sliding off the charts, but that is Concordia.
Concordia, the game that I will not say anything about for fear of being attacked.
I mean, I had the audacity to ban this from our draft at some point, and I never heard the end of that. So.
Oh, Concordia. Oh, did you ban it?
Yeah, in the sit-down draft.
You banned it. Wait, but didn't you do the masterstroke of like banning Gloomhaven when you had the first pick as well?
No, I think we banned Concordia as the first.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but like you banned something, and then you would have been able to pick it because you had the first pick.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. It was too much power that no
fantastic.
One had, so that's exactly it.
For the love of the sport and not for winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7 is up 2 spots. Another one that is like an older game that has a small bump, except this one makes sense to me, is Castles of Burgundy.
Sexy edition.
Fancy.
I don't know.
New
Fancy.
edition. Yep.
Neon, what do we call it?
Sorry, sexy.
Yeah, you sexy thing, you.
Our listeners are really not susceptible to the cult of the new, man. They are locked in.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, there are some elements of here that like seem to like reflect. I mean, Arcs obviously being the preeminent example, I suppose. But like, that does seem to be the case, where it is a lot of resurging support for older games.
That's cool. I like that.
Number 6, up 1 spot, is Arc Nova.
Okay,
Arc Nova,
good pick.
Better than Terraforming Mars, right?
100%.
I mean, I think so.
100%.
Yeah, you guys need to learn about raising robots better than both of these games.
I do need to learn about raising robots.
Yeah.
Number 5 is up 3 spots from number 8 last year, is Dune Imperium.
Okay.
Although I would say that this one tracks with its rise on BGG. Like, I think Dune Imperium has basically been one of the steadiest rises of the last couple of years. So.
It's like,
That's true.
I love Dune Imperium Uprising specifically, but I don't, how many people have this as their favorite game, Neil? Like, this is their Crucible.
Oh, let me see here.
Well, it's not a lot.
It's in the top 5 for, in fact, it's tied in the top 3 for most picked as number 1.
Well,
so yeah,
you know,
it's definitely a chunk.
Some people enjoy eating Raisin Bran every day, and you know,
yeah, no accounting for taste, right?
I
think Dune Imperium is great.
Dune Imperium, no accounting for taste. Nealon,
I think it's great. Don't put that on me. I think this is a fantastic
compared
game.
it to Raisin Bran.
I do think there is a Raisin Bran Blood on the Clocktower crossover, though, for sure.
What?
How dare you?
Same folks.
Not even a breakfast cereal because it has fruit in it.
Number 4 is up 1 spot from last year. This is the second Reiner Knizia game in our top 20. It is Ra.
Okay. I really like this list.
Yeah, no, it's a great list. Ra, I think, as people may recall, had a meteoric rise last year where it basically jumped up like 40-odd spots based on the new sexy edition. So I think it's still riding that train. Number 3.
But I think a lot, if it was just a sexy edition, like the newness of that edition, it would have burnt out. And the fact that it's staying is
well, no, I guess I mean more that it's that had it enter like public consciousness
boosted it
again.
up. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure. Then there's a fair bit of like swippy swappiness happening in our top 3 this year. So number 3 is down 2 spots from last year. This is Brass Birmingham.
Nice.
Wow, Brass Falls.
Yeah, wasn't number 1 last year.
Wait, that it's falling? No, it's so good. It's so high.
Oh, okay. You seemed happy about the fall.
No, I'm not happy about the fall.
One thing I will call out over here, which is the rules for which games get combined with other games within editions is always a little bit nebulous, and I sort of just play it by ear. I do not traditionally combine Birmingham and Lancashire. They are two separate entries, and it should be said that if the Brass people got together and pushed one game, it would be number one on our list.
Oh, if they were the
But that's
change
not
they
the
could
case.
believe in, and then they came
Exactly.
together.
If the Lancashire people would just set aside
yeah.
their stupid, like,
Of course, the
try-hardy
Lancashire
nonsense
people.
and accept, the Lancashire people in
Oh, you
particular,
dirty man.
and just acknowledge that Birmingham is the superior game, it would be a number one.
You alcoholic.
Number two, this is the one that actually, of all the talking about games that are older games that got bumps, this is the one that surprised me the most. Number two is up 2 spots from last year, and it is Spirit Island.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Is this...
It doesn't
Island is
surprise
gonna-
you?
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, Spirit Island is fantastic. It's in my top
Yeah.
50. I just thought it was kind of not
Don't-
necessarily
sorry,
in circles anymore, as it were.
I think that remains to be seen because Greater Than Games, or that's the publisher, right? I think it's Greater Than.
Yes.
Or so, they have gone out of business, and I think there is now an issue about reprints and all that stuff and the potential scarcity. But I think that folks who are fans of Spirit Island are hardcore. I think that's a very strong sort of a fan base. So it doesn't surprise me that it's that high at all.
I also have like one small theory, which is that we're now a couple of years removed from Horizons of Spirit Island, which is like the lighter, target-friendly edition of this. So maybe similar to like I was proposing with Jaws of the Lion, you have people that played Horizons and are now moving on to Spirit Island proper.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's any juice in that idea, but it's one thing I was thinking at least as a possibility.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, which leaves our number one, which is up 1 spot from last year, Hansa Teutonica.
The past
Wow.
the best game of all time.
The
Password.
community's favorite game of 2025.
Oh my gosh. That really blows my mind. I mean, so it must have been high on a lot of people's lists. It's cool that so many people have it high on their personal top 20 games list, but yeah, I'm very happy to hear sort of how things broke. We're as guilty of being caught up in, Call to the New and the latest hotness sort of situation as much as anybody, but to hear so many of our listeners have these classics in their top games of all time is cool. I like that.
Yeah, so that does it for the top 20. I do have like a small like collection of notes as per usual. I could also, like, if anyone is curious about stuff where it sits on the list, like, feel free to ask. But I'm just going to go through the rest of the stuff I have over here.
Do I have to ask? Nealon?
We can get back to that in a little bit later.
Okay,
I think the question you have on your mind will shortly be answered.
Okay.
I will just quickly point out there are 5 games not already mentioned that were on the top 20 last year. I may as well just quickly mention those. PAX Premier 2nd Edition slipped from 13 to 27. El Grande slipped from 14 to 23.
Interesting.
A Feast for Odin, sadly, slipped from 17 to 21, so just off the top 20, which is infuriating. Azul slipped from 19 to 33, and Quest for El Dorado slipped from 20 to 26.
Huh. That's interesting.
Then I also have here like the biggest changers that are within the top 20. So either stuff that was on the top 20 last year or entered the top 20 this year. Some of this we've already spoken about a little bit, but PAX Premier fell 14 positions. Azul fell 14 positions as well. And then Arcs and Gods of Atlantis, obviously the big winners, going up 189 positions and 25 positions respectively.
Interesting. Like that guards jump is really surprising. I mean, warranted, certainly warranted, but just not something I would have seen coming.
Yeah. So the thing that kind of supports a little bit of my Cole Wehrle people glomming around other Cole Wehrle games theory a little bit, there was another really big meteoric rise. I don't really keep track of a lot of the things as they fall out of the top 50 because the data gets a little bit more nebulous. But Oath, for whatever reason, rose from number 472 to our top 100 this year.
Wow.
So, of all the games I would not have expected to see like a resurgence in, like Oath is definitely up there, but
I think there's only one explanation for it. The designer spotlight factor. I've reignited
people
the
listened
passion.
to that, played Oath, and like submitted
That's
their
right.
list.
It could be.
That's right.
I believe in that. I mean, I think Spirit Island, this is just like hoarding mentality, right? They knew the publisher was going out of business. They bought them all up. They ranked it, voted it up, and here we are.
This is all market manipulation.
Oh yeah, now they're gonna dump them now that they've voted it highly. People are like, "Wow, that's Spirit Island." Yeah, that's That's darker than I thought, but sure.
Okay, let's talk about some of the biggest fallers from the list overall. We have Dogs of War, which was down about 300 spots. That was previously in our top 100, is now nowhere to be
It was
seen.
right there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No. Neil,
Pandemic
largest
Legacy
faller?
Season 1. Sorry, say it
biggest
again?
loser?
One of the big, the biggest
No,
faller.
the biggest loser.
Yep. The biggest loser. Pandemic Legacy Season 1, also a big loser.
That one makes sense, though.
Down 150 spots from 35, so reasonably close to our top 20. And then I included this one because I had to. Sorry, Mark. Biblios fell 100 spots
What?
out
Are you
of the top
serious?
100.
We found our biggest loser.
Sucks.
Thy name is Mark.
What? Oh my god! I thought this was going to move on. I didn't have any hope that it'd be in the top 20, but I feel like I'm seeing some Biblios buzz around here and
You're
there.
seeing buzz?
It's
Where
a
are you
big
seeing
fall.
the buzz? Tell us.
Yeah,
where
I
you're
am seeing
the
buzz.
Yeah.
I saw it on Reddit.
On
I'm
the
seeing
street.
it on our Discord.
Yeah.
That's right, on the streets.
Yeah.
Biblios was one of the big risers last year, actually. So I don't know what happened this year.
All right. So wait. So then I guess June 2026 designer spotlight on Steve Finn.
Steve Finn.
Yes.
Perfect.
The Biblios spotlight. Like it's just one game. Everything about it.
Okay, then I have some hidden gems. These were games that appeared on somebody's number 1 spot, but didn't appear anywhere else. No one else submitted this game except for someone who had it as their number 1 game.
I love it. I love it.
And these are not going to be a lot of things we've not necessarily heard of, but Enemy Action Kharkov is one that I had not heard of.
Enemy
A game I just got a copy of.
Action Kardkov.
Enemy
game.
Action Kharkov.
Oh, war game.
War game.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Mahjong was someone's
Nice.
number 1.
Wow.
See, not a hidden gem exactly. Blood Bowl Team Manager, the card game.
Oh, I do not.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures Changes Constant.
Is that after a colon?
Probably after a colon. Let me double check that. Yes.
Wow.
Aeon Trespass Odyssey, which was an interesting one to me because I remember back in the time that this was on Kickstarter, this was like battling against Oathsworn, which I kind of feel like won out in that battle. But I've not heard much about Aeon Trespass Odyssey, but to see that it's someone's number 1 is pretty cool. History of the World. Infinity
Wow, what?
N3, the war game.
Yeah.
Deus.
Yeah. That's a good game.
And then Inventions, Evolution of Ideas. The new
All right.
Lacerda.
Mr. Lacerda?
Well, Serta making a appearance.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of it for the stuff I have on the top 20 specifically. Oh, I did mention this a little bit earlier. So where the games that were the highest number 1 selections, Root was that pick last year. This year it was Spirit Island, which could account for its big surge.
Makes
and
sense.
second most, Kellen, was Innovation.
Oh, yeah. There. See?
Wow. Okay.
Spiky
So
good.
a lot of people really love Innovation, but yeah, I guess a lot of the people that maybe had it lower on their lists potentially last year maybe had it fall off. Hard to say.
Yeah. Interesting.
Blood in the Clocktower, Marvel Champions, and Hansa Teutonica, and Dune Imperium were other ones that were like very highly selected as number 1 games. The highest brand new entry did not appear on anyone's lists last year. I think this is one might be one that you guys could get to. Another really, really, really hot game from last year that isn't Arcs.
This is a new release.
New release.
Would have been released.
Yeah, released in 2024.
Harmonies?
No.
Oh, good call. Oh, how about Sky Team? Sky Team?
Not Sky Team. Sky Team did
Sky
have
Team
a
might have been
big
earlier.
jump, but it had actually been around on the previous list. Slay the Spire.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Slay the Spire is now at number 61, despite being a brand new game on the list.
I have such a weird...
That's cool.
It's such a weird one, right? Because I do
thought
love
you were-
it. I own it. I love it.
Yeah.
I played it a lot.
Yeah.
Play it with my brothers. But it's like so clearly like a video game, board game, video game that it's like, I don't know. It's hard and it's so obnoxious to set. I don't know. I have
Yeah.
like mixed feelings about that just like climbing the BGG top 100.
It's definitely the most in the why not just play the video game conversation, but at the same time, you can't play the video game co-op, so I get it.
Yeah. And again, I love it. I own it. But it's like, is it the 40th best board game ever created, as BGG says? I don't know, guys. But Harmonies is the 80th best game, so that was why
there we go.
It could have been.
Yeah, no, Harmonies, you know what? I don't actually... Let me just double check. I'm curious to see where that is on the list. I do not have a way I can put this in a number. It does not look like it's in the top 100, but it looks like it's reasonably close to the top 100. And then, then the other thing that I like to do every year is here are the people who most represent each of our respective tastes. So, Kellen, you can shout out to Elongated
Love
Muffin,
you.
General
Love
Jack,
you.
and Frank.
Absolutely love you.
Oh, okay.
Champions.
Elongated Muffin was the person who helped set up our BoardGameBarrage.com/map page, where you can find other BGB folks in the area.
Yeah, because they're lonely for people like us with good game taste.
That's right. There you go.
Mark, your biggest fans are One Wing, Otisk, and Shane V316.
Nice. Those are 3 strong names.
My biggest fans are Sam Cerule, Longtime Sunshine, and Frankensam, another Sam. Oh, and Reed actually is my number 1 fan.
No.
You guys share Frank and Sam if my hearing serves.
I don't like that crew.
One of that crew is your crew.
Yeah,
Literally.
that was the good name.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's it for this year, guys.
Well, thanks as always for doing all that work, and I'm happy to hear that the listeners obliged and made it as easy as possible for you to get the data going. So thank you again, Neelan.
More of that for next year. I do hope like next year it did come together a little bit quickly at the end there, but I hope to get the word out sooner next year and give people the proper time frame in which to submit their stuff so there's less confusion over it. But overall, I would say it went off pretty swimmingly, and thank you as always to everyone that sent in their lists. It's a huge deal to like have this much information coming in and to like have it done in exactly the way I need it to like get it done in a relatively short amount of time. So hugely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
And that is going to do it for the episode. So thank you, as always, to Heart Society for our intro and outro music, Watching Your Mind Kid. You can find us on all of our social media. You can find us on Discord. Please come into our Discord at BoardGameBarrage.com/Discord and tell us what you think of the listeners' picks. If you are someone who vehemently disagrees with anything you've heard, they're all there. You can just go into the Discord and shout at them. All of the people that submitted the wrong games to the top 20. Take it out.
And
remember, us.
Remember, the listener is you.
Yeah, it was you this whole time.
Oh my god.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.